into your real quick recap about your interview with your boy Dane.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a pretty long show.
It was a great conversation, by the way.
Yeah.
You and Dane had a really great conversation. We'll probably have to do a recap on the other ZZ feature with your other friend on the next episode, because I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Right.
So I've been very busy with work. So Zino did that interview. I didn't even know. He just told me before this episode started. I was like, hey, by the way, I did another interview. So thankfully he's holding it down for us.
Yeah. So the thing about ZZ features, and I always say it in the intro of every feature. I say every, but it's only been 2 so far. But the thing I say in the intro is that it's myself, it's Zeus, or it's both of us interviewing someone on a topic that they really know about, they can really like expand on, right? And I did one, and please go check it out. Like I showed in one of our earlier clips, you can go to our page and then go to playlists, and you can see the features playlist, right? So I did one with my friend Dayne Turner. He's a sheriff's deputy. I'm not gonna say what county he works for, because he did ask that I don't do that. But we talked on a range of issues. One of the things that I really appreciated that we talked about was, well, 2 things. One was the recidivism rates, how people, they go to jail, they basically paid their debt to society, but they end up back in jail because society doesn't give them the means to stay out of jail, right? They don't give them the means to get a job and all that stuff, because they have to write on there that they are a felon. And that alone makes an employer be like, sorry, man, you seem like a nice guy, but I can't give you this job. So we talked a lot about the recidivism rate, and we talked about how in Georgia, and I'm assuming in many other states, there isn't a mental health facility that is free. So essentially, a lot of the way that people can get mental health care in the state of Georgia, if they don't have like a lot of money to pay for it, is by being in the prison system. They have to be locked up, and when they're locked up, then they can get mental health care. Otherwise, they're down on their luck. So they come out and they deal with mental health issues. They usually end up homeless, not being able to take care of themselves, which is, it's a shame. It's a really big problem that I had no idea about. And that's why we do features, right? To shine light on things that we don't know about and learn about it. And then hopefully you guys learn about it as well. So that's my little recap of what we talked about there.
So it was a great conversation. I really did enjoy it. Just quick for people to know, I actually met Dane the same day that I met Zino at our friend Amanda's wedding. So shout out to Amanda. So it was just, I remember looking at him and was like, oh, that's right, I do remember him, because when I was seeing the video of him, I was like, I remember him, and so that's where I remember him. But anyways, the interview was great. I really did enjoy it. I learned the recidivism. How do you say it?
It's a tough word. Recidivism.
Yeah, that word reminds me a lot of something I read in Nickel and Dimed, where they were talking, or she basically was saying like the drug test alone. Like it's kind of like the drug test, right? Being drug tested off the bat sets up a certain type of atmosphere for you are automatically looked at as a person that you could be a criminal. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
yeah. One second. What is Nickel and Dime?
It's a book. It's a book called Nickel and Dimed. I believe it's a term too, but I read the book called Nickel and Dimed. Real quickly, I will find by Barbara.
Nickeled and dimed.
Nickel
like
and
past
Dimed.
tense.
Yeah,
okay.
by how do you say her name? By Barbara Ehrenreich. Ehrenreich.
We'll put it in the description below.
Yeah, well, as Zino has just showed, I'm not as great with. I don't know great words. I just know stuff. But but from that book, she was there was a section where she was talking about the drug testing part, and the drug testing part kind of sets you up basically off the bat for companies to look at you as like, if you're on drugs, you're automatically set up to not get this job, despite the fact that how many people who have a normal 9 to 5 now, Zeno, I don't know if you, but I don't really toke. People ask me if I'm a weed smoker. I tell them, no, I'm not a weed smoker, but I've smoked weed, you know, and I'm not opposed to, if somebody were to offer me, maybe I would take it, maybe not. It just depends on my mood, honestly. But I'm not one of those that says I don't smoke weed because, you know, I don't believe it. It's not that. It's just, that's not a part of my normal routine, right? But I know plenty of people who smoke it on the regular, but they do their jobs great, right? It's kind of like,
I was actually talking to someone about this a couple of days ago. Now, this is an extreme from what you're saying, but about the fact that a lot of the great minds of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even the 80s partook in drugs. Like LSD, like that's why I said extreme. I wouldn't.
No, trust me. There are some people. I have a friend, and who just loves to talk about LSD and mushrooms, and he actually talks about the benefits of it. I wouldn't do it. I don't mess with. Yeah. I wouldn't mess with psychedelics. That's just me.
Yeah. So the point being, I think the point you were getting at, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were kind of getting at it's a way to disqualify you, despite the fact that that drug use doesn't make you any less
of a good worker or a good person. You know, and sir, this is year 2020. Please let me speak for myself. But I'm joking. No, you said exactly what I wanted to say, because that is the truth, and that's what he was talking about with the whole you know, the felons just basically they can't do anything. Remember, you used to be able to get. It's funny because I think there's a lot of people who can be felons and become lawyers, but you can't become you can't go work at a corporate job and do a regular 9 to 5 and just try to survive and work for a living and just do stuff. You want to get out of it. You got caught up in a bad situation, but now you're a felon, right? Like, I'm not going to say that all felons are rehabilitated, but that's the point of, isn't that supposed to be, he even says it, didn't he? It's the point is rehabilitation.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be punitive, sure, but it's also supposed to be a rehabilitation, process. And they've put the punishment parts in there as 100% and left no space for the rehabilitation part.
And if you look at other countries, because we're the #1 country in regards to incarceration. I think they said that we make 25% of the prison population of the world, if I'm not mistaken. And we are horrible at rehabilitation, but there are so many countries that are good at rehabilitation that we probably should look into. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Switzerland is one of those countries that's really good at it.
I think he mentioned one too, like during the interview. I think he mentioned like Germany or something.
Yeah, I think he did, and because if you look at there's a lot of countries that don't do life sentences.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really annoy me is that if you're a felon and you serve your time, in a lot of states, in most states in the United States, you cannot vote. Like, you've lost your right to vote. And I think that is absolutely terrible. I think that's absolutely terrible. That is just a way to target minority groups. Yeah. Because, I mean, we know that a lot of the people who make up the prison population, a lot of the people who get convicted of felonies are minority groups. That doesn't mean that minorities are worse people or they're just more susceptible to becoming criminals. It means that a lot of the people who are poor are minority groups, and poverty is usually what leads to criminality. You can't get it the normal way, so you have to commit a crime to get it. You become a felon, you can't vote anymore.
Another great book, and that's actually on this, and I believe it was the same sociology class, is called The New Jim Crow: Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness by Michelle Alexander. I don't know. Have you ever read that book?
No, I haven't.
You should definitely check out that book. That book actually, it actually opened my eyes to how. Now she's talking about completely. I think she talks about completely abolishing prisons. I just don't think right
Yeah,
now that's possible. But I think we definitely need to do a rehabilitate or a restructuring of the
yeah,
prison industrial complex makes a lot of money. That's
yeah.
the
I don't think private prisons are a good thing.
they're
Like,
not.
yeah,
They're not because you have cases of judges sending purposely sentencing kids to jails because they get a little bit of back on the back end for that.
that's terrible.
You know, the one thing with prisons is like he was talking about with this felon, right? You can learn a lot of stuff in prison, right? And I don't mean just learn how to shank someone. I mean like you can learn things in prison. For example, currently, right now, we have a bunch of fires in California because some morons decided to do a gender reveal explosion test, which, by the way, this isn't the first time. I believe they happened in Texas as well, or it might have been in California. But it was the same thing where somebody did a gender reveal, they exploded some stuff to bring out the colors, and it caused a fire.
Oh, jeez.
And and congratulations to that couple, by the way, because guess what, your child is going to cost you a couple $1,000,000 because the other person that I was referencing, I believe they were charged with like multiple $1,000,000 of a fine.
I saw a meme, and sorry, I don't want to cut off your story, but I saw a meme, and since you brought up the story, it was this guy is like in the car seat with his son, and the son looks at his dad. He was like, "Dad, why is my sister named Candle?" And he said, "Well, because we burnt a candle during her gender reveal." And then he was like, "Oh, okay. Thanks for telling me that." He's like, "You're welcome, California."
So he's California. So, anyways, but yeah. So it's that's going on, right? So right now, what they're using is, and this is one of the things that Kamala Harris was actually attacked for too, back because they've done it before, where they use federal inmates to fight fires, right? And we're talking about they're firefighters. They are firefighters, right? Because basically, there's no way that you can't. If they are, that's even worse because you're basically putting people in a minimally trained to go into something that they should be heavily trained in for.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid $1 per hour, or if it's $1 per hour, it might be $1 per day. And I've had some people when I mentioned this back a few years ago. I believe I shared this some similar article back in 2017 or 2000 because California has a fire every single year, it seems. And somebody was like, "Well, at least they're learning a life skill." I was like,
No.
You can't apply for a firefighter position.
Yeah, because the first thing you have to put is you're a felon, and then they'll be like, nah, sorry. Even though you've shown that you know how to do it, that.
And the other one was in Arizona, and it caused $8 million in damages. So it doesn't matter if this person is learning a life skill. Trust me, wouldn't that be a fabulous thing?
Yeah. Can I make a policy suggestion? I made one apparently during the interview with Dane, and someone endorsed me for president. To which I replied, it was a friend of mine. I replied, "Thank you, but A, I'm too young, and B, I wasn't born here, so I can't be president." But
How old are you?
31.
Oh, god dang.
Yeah, I know the receding hairline says otherwise, but
I can run next year.
Oh, nice! I'll vote for you.
Thank
2024. So I told her though that I would promote or endorse anyone that is for making the federal government responsible for opening free mental institutions across the country. That shouldn't be a states' rights issue. It shouldn't be on the state's budget. It should be on the federal budget. And also having a nationalized standard for police conduct and all that stuff. So I said I would promote and endorse anyone for that. I have one more policy that I will promote and endorse you for if you decide to run. And that is, if you're going to use criminals or let me not say that. If you're going to
Inmates.
use inmates, thank you. If you're going to use inmates for these life skill jobs, right? Like firefighting and all these other things, and you're going to pay them this little amount because they are inmates and therefore you can afford to pay them that amount. I think the difference of what you would normally pay someone. So if a firefighter normally gets $15 an hour, and you're going to pay an inmate $1 an hour, I think $14 an hour should go into a fund that this inmate can tap into when this inmate comes out of jail. Because we know that getting a job and getting money is usually a big issue. So let them at least work towards that. They might not get the $14 right then and there, but when they come out of jail, when they do their time, they should be able to get that.
Zeno, let me tell you. I'm trying to do my Obama. It never works. But anyways, let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I actually think that actually is a great idea. I've never even thought about that, but I actually think honestly something else that needs to be done is if you're going to be using inmates for these particular type of jobs, right? We're talking about a rehabilitation, so let's let them earn the rehabilitation, right? Let's not just sentence somebody. Okay, you don't want to sentence somebody to 20 years and then they come out and then you automatically let them do whatever they want to do. That's fine. Let them earn it while they're there, because you can earn time off based on good behavior, right? Because you behaved good, so you get time. Like people get released for good behavior real early, right? So this person just being not a bad inmate is enough for you to reward them with some freedom. If they're doing things like fighting fires, right? Or there's a lot of ones that deals with dogs, right? They help veterinarians. And I'm pretty sure there's various other options, right? Because I don't know, if you pick up trash on the side of the road as an inmate, can you even apply for to be part of a to pick up, no, you can't, because that's a government job.
Yeah.
So let it be where that person earns a credit or something that allows them to be able to apply for those jobs. Mm-hmm. That yes, this person is a felon, but guess what? He's earned the right to become a firefighter because he fought fires.
He's worked this many hours.
He's worked this many hours towards basically a college kind of credit for that, right? So make it a credit to be removed away from his fine of being, because like Dane said, it's supposed to be the art of rehabilitation. You're supposed to be rehabilitating this person. So why aren't we allowing that to happen? Yeah. And that all that does is that just keeps feeding into the prison industrial, the kickbacks that a lot of people get because of people are being in jail. And like you said, it negatively affects the same way that the war on drugs affected our community the most, because of the way you just happen to classify certain drugs. Blue collar crimes, are those federal crimes?
Blue collar crimes? Wait, you mean white collar crimes?
White collar crimes, I'm sorry.
Well, it depends. It depends on.
I just find it funny that there's a lot of people who do something like money laundering or like Enron, but those people still can get jobs.
Yeah. It usually depends on the scope, right? So if it was a crime that, like Bernie Madoff, for instance, because the people that he defrauded were from multiple states, his kind of fell into federal crime type of territory. But to your example about people can do these white collar crimes and they still get jobs, the people who are felons can still get jobs. It's just they aren't given a second look because they're marked down to the felons. But these white collar criminals, they might get a second look because, oh, you worked for Goldman Sachs, or oh, you know someone, or so they can still.
Your level of crime was a crime that we like.
Yeah, exactly. They can still get by on networking and stuff.
You might you might steal millions of dollars from my customers, but at least you're not gonna, I don't know, go on a high speed chase.
Right. Yeah. Anyway. So it's a shame,
but honestly, if you haven't listened to his interview with Dane, give it a listen. Give it a listen to all three videos. All three videos provide great. We got a lot of views on the first video, because if you're not number one, you're last. The first video got a lot of views. definitely give the other. I honestly recommend the whole entire thing, not just because it's part of the podcast that I'm part of, but it really is a great interview, and I definitely recommend it. And you learn a lot coming from someone on the inside. Maybe there might be a follow up that we need to do just to kind of ask him more questions.
Perhaps he said that we should bring him back for something lighter to talk about stand-up comedy because he is a stand-up comedy.
I'm
So
down with that.
I'm gonna trick him into thinking he's coming about stand-up comedy, and then go back into this. But
Yeah.
no, we're gonna have a lot more features, not just with Dane. Like Zeus mentioned, I have another one about Native American issues. Zeus has a couple that he has queued up that we're gonna be recording over some time. So, you know, we have these ideas, we want to put them out there. We know that they're things we want to learn about, and we think that they're things that you could learn about as well. And yeah, a more engaged and informed population is a better population.